Really cool. Guys, they just found the Nkumas and they've just grabbed a warthog. So those of you that are sensitive, I'm going to warn you, it's going to be loud and it's going to be difficult, but they've just grabbed this. It came out of the hole and they've literally grabbed it as we turned the car off. Listen to this. There's no need for words. They are busy just making all the noises that we need to basically tell the story that is as old as time and the drama of what actually goes out here. Now, it's of course incredibly sad for this warthog that has been caught by these lions, but the power of these lions to bring down a warthog that quickly is absolutely. Wow. We've tracked them, we picked them up, we saw them sitting on the mound, we parked, and we were just getting ready to kind of take it easy with the pride for the morning, and this warthog came busting out, and this is the result. I just need to let the guys on the radio know. Stations have located the Nku'ma Pride. They've just killed an adult whale warthog just off Leadwood, north of the fire break at that prominent termite mound on station look. You're more than welcome. They're literally just killing it now, so you can just make your way. I don't know how much will be left though. That was ridiculous and out of nowhere. They didn't even look like they were stalking. They were literally just sitting on the mound relaxing. And this big male warthog came flying out. And it was, funny enough, of all the lionesses to grab this particular warthog, it was Purple Eye with her injured hip. Can you believe it? The one that is the most kind of limpy and the one that's got the most sort of difficulties when it's walking is the one that actually grabbed this warthog first. The noise is just unbelievable. You can see the cubs are trying to find a space to feed, but no love is lost when it comes to feeding. The adult females will be pretty rough with the cubs during this period, and they're going to be covered in blood by the end of this because each one is going to try and force their way in. So let's just let the guys from the east know because shame they were looking for these lions too. Kyle, you're saying that it was so intense that it was still alive? Well, I'm afraid that's how lions eat, is when they catch something like this, particularly a pride, they're going to just go to town. One will grab it by the throat, and then the rest will just go crazy. What's going to be interesting, though, is to see if hyenas arrive, because obviously that squealing is very loud and the lion's feeding, and there were tracks for hyenas everywhere in this area that were actually on top of the lion tracks in places. So it's pretty incredible that they haven't arrived yet. I would have expected them to be here. I actually saw a mound the other day where I was wondering if maybe hyenas are using it as a den site because it's so well worn. It's either them or warthogs, so let's go back and actually check it. But with the amount of tracks, it could very well be hyenas. This is ridiculous, though. It just goes to show you it's always good to persevere. I mean, these tracks crossed out of our property twice, basically, and then came back in. And we could have just written it off and carried on, but we went and just double-checked to see if they would come back into our area, and they did. And like I say, it's just a matter of timing. BK and I were just taking it easy. BK? Yeah. Out of nowhere, buddy. Yo, crazy. And the audio is just unbelievable as well. Peter. Yeah, these guys have just killed a warthog north of the boundary. I'll keep you updated. They might go for water after it's finished. So they might head towards Twin Dam, so I'll keep you updated. Now the amazing part about all of this is that warthog right there is a big warthog. It was a massive male warthog, probably would have weighed in excess of 70, 80 kilograms, and in the space that we've been watching, it's pretty much being decimated to just bone. You can see now everybody is trying to actually get a little bit of meat, but there's just literally bones. Even the legs are starting to disappear in the mess that is those lions, and they will consume everything from that warthog in the space of a few minutes. Whereas if it was a leopard that had caught a warthog of that size, it would have been 3 to 4 days worth of food for one leopard. So it gives you an idea of how quickly and how much food these guys need to eat. The interesting thing is though, before they caught this warthog, they already had blood on them. So I don't know if they had already caught another warthog, and this is now the second one. I'm not quite sure, but they've definitely had eaten prior to catching this particular individual. Well, that went from a very placid morning. Patty, you're so right. From cute to terrifying in seconds. I know, but that's how it is out here. It just goes to show you it's small margins. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday with driving past these lions. It's just moments in time out here and fleeting glimpses that we get into these animals' lives. The thing about the wild areas of Africa is that there is so many different animals and how they fit in that, life is incredibly sort of fragile in so many respects. We were talking about mange on these lion cubs and how that can be difficult for them, and this warthog all of a sudden comes out and kind of gets grabbed, and its life is ended. And that's how it is out here. It's a constant state of trying to survive. So the lions have their own problems, but the prey animals too, and everybody's got to kind of interact. And we know that yesterday the lions were looking a little bit skinny. And so this meal goes a long way to them keeping those immune systems up and trying to battle this mange that they're trying to overcome. So it's a kind of, it goes from these quiet moments to chaos, as you say, in a blink of an eye. And it will be over just like that too. By the end of this drive, all of these guys will be sitting, probably grooming themselves, sleeping in the shade. And this whole moment here will have just been a fleeting glimpse into the life of the lions and how survival works out here. Now, I believe a lot of you are really enjoying the sounds of these lions. It is incredible. Now, can you imagine a more fearful sound if you were sitting in the bush at night and you were stuck out here back in those days when we didn't have housing and electricity, and you hear this rumbling through the night? You would be absolutely petrified. These deep growls have an ability to make your spine tingle. Wow. Anna-Marie, no, lions don't have the best table manners, I'm afraid. When it comes to feeding, it's everybody grabs as much as they can and eats as much as they can, especially on a small carcass like this. While this warthog was very big, it's not big for this number of lions, and so they have to fight one another in order to get the nutrients they need. And you can see how the cubs try and wedge themselves in there. They're very brave when they do this, but you can also see how the females don't tolerate it. They fight with each other, they fight with the cubs. Everybody just tries to get the piece that they want. Now, we were talking about it last night. It just goes to show you, and it's kind of highlighted the point massively from what we were saying last night, is that patience and perseverance when it comes to animals is such a key thing. We were saying when we extended the show last night and followed these lions for a bit that the more time you spend with them, the more likely you're going to get some sort of behavioral aspect from them. And so we know over the course of the last few days, every time we've had tracks for this pride, we've tried to track them down and spend as much time with them as possible, and we've watched them sleep. Dave had them sleeping and then walking a little bit. Yesterday we had them walking a little bit and looking like they wanted to hunt, and eventually it's paid off in this morning and getting this incredible interaction that we've had. Just listen to that. Wow. I think because, like I say, there's no reason to even have to talk through this. The lions most certainly are doing all the talking. I'm just going to keep quiet and you guys can just listen to this. It's really an incredible sound to be able to witness. Go ahead. Yeah, just keep coming all the way down as though you're going to the fire break. Just before the fire break, you'll find me here. They're still feeding, but yeah, make your way. This is unbelievable. There's something incredibly raw about watching these guys feed and the sounds that they make. Now, these moments are obviously incredibly difficult sometimes to watch, but also incredibly amazing in so many aspects. And for us to be able to show you guys all of these kind of things on a constant basis, we're going to need your support as much as possible in order to keep this coming to you. And so if you would just like to help us and like to carry on seeing moments like this, then we'd love for you guys to support using the link below. And like I say, hopefully there'll be a lot more incredible moments like this over the coming months and years.